what we did over J-Term, I'm going to give you a quick introduction, and then I'll let the guys tell you everything that they did. I'm Ryan Frederick, I'm the tech director here at school. And this was our esports J-Term. It was a continuation of the esports class that was in collaboration with English during the first semester. We focused more on the tech part during J-Term. These are the standards, if you're into educational standards, that we picked out to focus on during this opportunity. So we have Iowa Core Standards and the International Society for Technology and Education Standards, really focusing on the process of putting together a PC, what components are involved in it, the computational thinking strategies and mindset, and then also like how you're going to employ those strategies and how you're going to use those specific skills maybe in a future career. So a lot of things were gained through this process. I found a white paper that was published by the Sports Business Journal. They actually have an esports section, and they published a white paper about 2 years ago on what esports even is. And I'm sure you've heard a little bit about it throughout the course of the year. But they actually have a too long didn't read section on the white paper. But just some of the highlights of it is it's really taking gaming and turning it into a spectator sport, just like you would see with professional sports. It's growing huge. It's already surpassed $1 billion in revenue as a sport. Up until this year, viewership is exceeding 200 million people, and then it's getting young, employed, and diverse millennials into it. And so we're finding that there's a lot of career tracks in esports, not just the gaming part of it. And they can touch on that too. We can see it exploding so much because it's starting to get into high schools across the country. The first thing we did was join the North American Scholastic Esports Federation. So that's schools from all over the country that are doing the same thing. We've been competing with them throughout our Overwatch League in the fall. I'm collaborating with educators from across the country. I just had an hour-long conference call with an instructional coach from Orange County, California today, talking about esports and where it's going with academics. And so the future's huge. And we're really excited because we are in the first Iowa High School Esports Association, which is starting this spring. And so that was kind of the brainchild of some people over in Eastern Iowa. And I got in touch with them, we talked about it, we joined, and so it's gonna kick off this spring. And so we're, along with like Florida and California, one of the first states to really get a high school organization going. So these guys will be competing with them in the future. And that kind of leads us into what we've already done. And we competed in NASIF with Overwatch. And Marcus is going to tell you a little bit about our experience and what we learned in the fall.
So we all came in, sat down, and we played. I'm not going to lie, I had one of the not very good computers. One of the computers that would cut in and out, English all over. We didn't have very good requirements in the processor, the video, and the memory part. So through that, we learned that we needed to get better computers to be able to compete with other teams. And with that, the first part of building it here.
So because we had pretty crappy computers, they were really old, we decided to build 3 new computers, which this is mine right here. So the first part in building those computers were to take apart these old HP computers, which really old, they're like 2000 or like 10 years old, just to see how a computer works. We took them apart and put them back together just to see if they could work again, so we knew what we were doing when it was time to build these.
They took a poster board and they had to take off each component, put it on the poster board, and then label the piece, and then they would put it back together.
And then we used this PC simulator, which is over there on that screen, and this pretty much helped us figure out where all the parts go and what they do and how much they are. And
do you want to show them how you can click through that simulator?
yeah. So like you can just take out parts and put them back in. Like you just play with it.
Go to the inventory.
Has all the parts in categories. Yeah. So we use that to like pretty much learn where everything goes. And then we watched Udemy online course from Nathan. It was like a course where we watched videos on how to build PC, and then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to build a PC. And then we learned how to use it. And then we watched a video on how to bui each part is put in and what it does and everything else about it. And there's a quiz after every single one, and we took the quizzes, helped us through on how to install it, what not to touch, and if you touch it's bad and stuff.
Yeah, he did a good job of breaking down each one of these. These are parts listed up here, and Jack will talk about them. But for me, I had built one PC in my life. My background is a lot in educational technology. I'm just starting to get in the informational technology side of it. And so I built one, I had a little bit of experience, but this did a nice job of breaking down each one of these. These were all mini courses within the course as a whole. And so we were able to take apart that PC, take out the CPU, learn about what the CPU was and how to put it back in. And so we had a lot of practice through that PC, through the simulator before it came time to build our own. And Jack's gonna tell you a little bit about what we used to build our gaming PC.
So these are just the main parts of a computer. So right here, we got the case which holds all of the important parts together so they don't get broken. The next part is the motherboard. That's what you plug all of those parts into so you can get a display on your TV. The next one is the CPU, also known as a processor, which processes everything. The next thing is a graphics card, which you see right here. If you like to play video games, they have a lot of graphics in them, so you're going to need a graphics card to run those graphics. The next part is a power supply. It's down below here. It provides power for everything. The next thing is the RAM. It's the startup memory, and then the last thing is SSD, which holds all your storage. So if you download something on your computer, that's where it goes, the SSD.
One of the cool things about these parts is we wouldn't have been able to pick out our own parts and then build it. We wouldn't have had the time to get all the parts in. A couple of them were back ordered. So we had the parts coming into J-Term. Through our online course, we went through online resources and smart shopping and then choosing components, which I thought was a good exercise because then they kind of saw where these parts were coming from, how you should price them, and then what's compatible and what's not. And so they had some web resources that they would plug all of our parts into just to make sure that everything was compatible. And when we got to this part, Jack will tell you about some troubleshooting issues that we had.
So this picture right here, this is Marcus setting up this computer, and then these are the two finished products. That's Marcus's, that's mine. But we ran into a we got everything running up, the fans were going, everything was running, except we weren't getting a display on the TV. So we did some troubleshooting with the RAM, which is right here. And there's 4 different slots you can put them in. So we tried 1 in every slot, we tried 2 in every slot, and it wasn't working. So we tried one of them in the second slot and it worked. I don't know what happened, I don't know why it wasn't working in the first place, but we troubleshooted it and got it to work, got all of them to work.
We reached out to 3 different professionals in the area and then we couldn't figure it out, and then I ended up calling an old professor of mine and I said, these are the components we have, I don't know what's going on with this. And so he was walking us through it, and so I ended up ripping out a stick of RAM from my computer at home. I brought it in, the guys threw it in and it worked. And we're like, okay, we finally got it, but now we need to buy all new sticks of RAM. And so I'm over like looking through Amazon, trying to find some RAM that can go in our computers to get them to work. And all of a sudden I see Jack back over the computer and he sticks in 2 sticks of the RAM that we have and he gets it up and going. So saved us some money, which was really good, but just the troubleshooting process was really good.
In the future, we plan to compete with these computers hopefully professionally, and then we'll stream any game that we do on Twitch. We're looking for future upgrades if need be. We'll post anything that we do with the PCs on our social media, on Twitter.
And so this is where I came in really. I did an internship with Mr. Frederick, just to kind of help out with the esports club. And one of my projects was to start a Rocket League tournament throughout our school. And so I put together a Google form and sent it out to all the students in the high school, and got feedback to see who wanted it, who was interested. And so that's going to be an upcoming tournament. And then our next tournament is Rainbow Six Siege, and that's going to be in the Iowa High School Esports Association. So we're going to face teams all across Iowa in matches every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and we'll stream all those matches.
This is the schedule for that. And so I was really excited because Cody was big with our Overwatch tournament in the fall. And so he came to me right at the start of J-term, and an internship opportunity had fallen through, and so he was looking for another one. He asked if he could join, and I said absolutely. Like, I've really gotten into this. Wasn't huge on esports before this year, and all these opportunities just kind of came, and I saw the potential in it, especially with the educational side of it. And so I was excited about the opportunity, but I also knew going into the spring, I coach track, and I'm equally as passionate about track as I am about this. And so knowing that Cody, as a senior who has some experience managing things, I knew that he would be able to kind of step in, and he's going to be very instrumental in operating and managing the Rainbow Six Siege team that will be competing this spring. So that'll be really good.
And then, so NASAP is holding an NHL 20 tournament. You win your division, they fly you out to California for the championship. They need more kids to join in on that, and we're trying to get a team for our school to play in that every Tuesday after school.
Yep, and it's not just these guys that are involved. We're going to try to get opportunities through those tournaments that they talked about to get other kids the opportunity to play. And so this would be a really cool one that NASAP did it last year and it went really well for them. So I'm excited to see what they do with it.
And the first few days of J-term, me and Chase made some merchandise for the esports club. So we have a few different designs, 10 different outfits that you can order. We have an order form on social media if any of you guys would like to buy some of that.
We'll have
It's quality.
Donna send that out here when school gets going on Monday.
We have Winter Beyond the Game challenges, so some of them were submit a video clip of your club, stream a club event, host a viewing party, interview an esports professional, and we all went through and picked 2 of them. And they offer prizes for your club that can help you throughout everything. Any questions?
Kind of would open up for questions. Also, to go along with that, we encourage you guys, if you ever have any questions about anything that we're doing, to please feel free to reach out to me. It's growing, it's getting really big, it's new, and so it's different, which is cool. I've had principals from a few different schools in Iowa contact me directly and say, hey, I'm hearing about esports, our kids want to do it, what do I need to know? I'd like to get it started. I had someone from Hawkeye Community College contact me directly yesterday and said, I would really like to come up and talk to your kids. We're offering esports at Hawkeye Community College now, and we're offering scholarships for it. I know Waldorf College in Forest City is starting an esports club, and they're giving scholarships for that. Most colleges in Iowa have really kicked it off. So there's opportunity out there, and so we want to give our kids every chance that we can to make them successful, and this is doing just that. So now we'll open it up. If you have any questions for us.
When did the Tuesday start?
That starts I'm not sure the date exactly, in January. It's January through February. Yep. Mr. Rourke, you got any questions? You're always good for a question.
I'm always interested to know what the guys are learning out of it. I know that I've kind of seen how it evolved when you kind of wanted to do this, and it's became much bigger than I thought it was ever going to be. I'll be real honest with the people sitting in here. But I'm anxious to see like what you guys continue to learn. We've had a talk about the English standards and the video games and whatnot, but now you guys are approaching like putting together computer systems. Like, what has it taught you about yourself, your work ethic, your passion, what you want to do?
So like when the computers weren't working when we started, I troubleshooted, and that's, I guess, a pretty cool trait to have. And once you build these computers, you know how to build basically any computer that doesn't have water cooling, and it's a career if you'd like it to be, so you can fix other people's computers or build new ones for other people.
I've never built a PC before that, and learned much more about the parts and how to do it.
I mean, we use computers in most aspects of our lives now, and so knowing the internal workings of those is a really important skill, and these guys will kind of see firsthand go into a computer, but also how much money can go into repairing one. And so, as long as there's computers, there's gonna be people that need them fixed or need them upgraded. You hear it all the time on the radio now. Certain companies are saying now it's the time of year to upgrade your computer. These guys took a USB stick with an operating system and they installed it on there. Like, you go out to Best Buy and buy a PC, it has Windows 10 on it. Well, they built their PC, it didn't have an operating system on it. So all of a sudden I'm seeing these guys go into the BIOS and they're changing the startup BIOS and they're saying, no, I don't want you to start the BIOS on the motherboard, I want you to start on Windows 10. And then they go back into it and they rearrange it. And so just doing things that a lot of kids aren't able to do was really impressive to me.
Does that mean that we can use these guys to repair computers and we don't have to pay our outside vendors anymore?
Sure. That would be great. That would be great.
No, this is me talking. I haven't told any of these guys yet. This was somewhat of a pilot here at Spirit Lake High School. It's pretty evident that I think there's more kids who want to do this type of stuff. And so now, for my position, it's trying to figure out how can we build something but yet not let it get out of whack. You know, you can only handle so many kids in this type of setting and learning. So the coolest thing from here is these 4, 6, 8 kids have kind of paved the path and paved the way for what we know are kids coming from 7th grade, 8th grade, so on and so forth. So that's something that I haven't told you guys. Thank you for, and I hope you continue to stay in this, but you're really paving the path for future learners.
There's not many kids in the country right now that can say that they went to school and they are starting a program that really no one else is doing. I mean, this is the first time esports in academics has been a thing. And so when it gets huge, which it will, because you can see a decline in high school sports participation, it's being reported out there right now, and the reason is because the AAU culture is taking over athletics. I'm a huge sports fan, I'm obsessed with sports, I played 4 sports all throughout high school, but participation is down because the demands of it are so evident, and then the demands in the sport itself is such a big deal, right? So football and everything and concussions, I love football, but it's dangerous and people aren't playing it anymore. And so we need to find ways to get our kids involved, and a lot of people will say, well, it's video games, you know, they're just sitting there doing nothing. But if you would come into our room and watch a competition being played, there's communication, there's collaboration, there's problem solving, there's critical thinking, they're working together towards one common goal. It's everything that athletics is, right? But we're making it available to kids who might not be athletic, right? And we're making it available to kids who might not feel comfortable out on a gym or out in a court or up on a stage. And so it's just a great opportunity that really is available to everyone, and that's, like Mr. Rourke said, our next step is how can we make it available to everybody and not just the few that were lucky enough for us to call them in, I feel like.
Handpicked.
We needed it to work.
These guys, their public speaking has gotten so much better. We put them in settings, whether it be in the classroom, board meetings. I think that is going to help them out in their future. So no, we've seen a lot of good growth. These guys don't miss many days of school, and I think a lot of that is due to this program.
Perfect
It
attendance.
definitely is.
You were just talking about, you know, if you come into the class to see firsthand what these guys do, is there ever a time where a person can come in and do that?
Yeah, whenever. We have, is it first hour still? I haven't looked at next semester's schedule. I think first hour, you guys know?
I know it's by your second hour.
So it's either first or third.
You can come any day.
Yeah,
Like,
whenever we meet, yeah, you're welcome to come. Cause I like I said, I'm a tech director, so I don't have like set classes. That's my one class, so whenever it is, I'll go to it. But whenever you can come in, and the cool thing about our tournament in the spring is we are gonna stream each one. So those will be available to be watched too. Yeah,
It's your job, mister, to let me know when I can come in and check it out.
don't screw it up.